14-year-old girl. Now, I don't know what y'all got going on out there, but kind of explain what's going on, how she went missing. Anything you want to say?
My opinion, I think what happened, they sold my cousin to the highest motherfucking bid for $6,000 for a wedding. The goddamn stepmama.
Oh, who?
Huh?
Nyla.
Nyla, the step, yeah. The little girl who missing.
The stepmom.
Yeah.
And her name is, did somebody send me her name?
We're going to add it in the caption below, but just know, like, whoever behind this, y'all will be probably facing serious kidnapping charges, all kind of shit. Like, this ain't a game, so just do what's right. We here.
14.
If y'all want to let me know where she, I'll pull up myself. I ain't bringing no police with me, no nothing.
$10,000 might be a lot of bread, but your daughter's life is the butter topic.
She called my stepdaughter. She was like crying, whatever, and she was just yelling like, "They got me, they got me, they got me," whatever. And then her mother said she called too, and now was in the background crying.
That right there is a family member describing the phone call they got from 14-year-old Nyla Robertson, a young girl from Atlanta who went missing on the night of May 3rd, 2026. Within 48 hours, her family said a man none of them knew called demanding $6,000 to bring her home safely. Before we get into the night everything fell apart, we need to understand who Nyla is, because behind all the headlines and viral posts is a real person who deserves to have her story told right.
Most common age we see is between 10 and 14. And 14, that age, that's, 13, 14, that's when kids are really starting to build that independence. They're starting to go out a little bit more on their own. I see parents all the time posting way too much information about their child's schedule, where they go to school, who's their teacher, where they're going to extracurricular activities. We have to understand that putting too much information out there, especially on whether it's in the real world on a backpack or on social media, it allows predators to gain more access to our children, to have them have the understanding of where our children are and when, gives them an advantage if they're trying to abduct a child.
Put on your cap and gown and get ready. It's your graduation. It's your time, yeah. Yeah, you shining. Congratulations. You deserve it. Yeah, you earned it.
Oh. Walk across the stage, I'm feeling great. Might just do my dance and celebrate. Might just throw my cap up in the sky. Posing for these pictures looking fly. Write me down, cap and gown. Might just wear this all day when I hit the town.
Nyla Robertson is 14 years old, born sometime around 2011 or 2012, and she grew up in the Berkeley Park neighborhood of West Midtown, Atlanta, in a residential complex on the 700 block of Belmead Avenue NW near Buchanan Street. That area is a mix of apartments and townhomes, the kind of neighborhood where people are close enough to notice things, where doorbell cameras are on almost every door and people look out for each other. She is 4 feet 10 inches tall, weighs 95 pounds, and has brown eyes and black and brown hair. Her family described her as having a small frame and striking features, which, if you have seen the official police photo, you would agree with. That is honestly close to everything the public record gives us about Nyla before May 3rd. Because she is a minor and this case is still active, Atlanta police have kept the personal details tight, which is the right call. No verified social media presence has come up publicly. No prior news mentions, nothing beyond what the police bulletin describes. What we do know is that she was living with her mother at or near that Belmead Avenue address, and that the household also included her mother's girlfriend, who was present at the complex during the investigation. Now, there is one thing that came up in the reporting that is worth paying attention to because it creates some confusion about who Nyla was before this happened. Some family-connected posts online say she had left home before, and that this situation felt different, heavier, and far more frightening than those previous times. But at the same time, the Black and Missing Foundation was posting that she has no history of running away, and that the family believes she may have been groomed or manipulated by someone. Those two things cannot both be entirely true, and police have not cleared up which picture is accurate. What that gap tells us is that the family was scared, The information coming out early was all over the place, and the full story of who Anila was before that night is still something the public has no access to.
We are following breaking news now at 6. Atlanta police are searching for this 14-year-old girl, Anila Robertson. She was last seen Sunday night around 10 o'clock near Belmead Avenue Northwest. Her mother says Anila left without permission, and police say she later called, claiming she was being held against her will. If you know where she is, call 911 right now.
What is not in question is this. On the evening of Sunday, May 3rd, 2026, Anila was at her home on Belmead Avenue, and sometime around 10 p.m. that night, she left. Her mother reported to police that she left without permission, and that is the only official explanation that exists. No argument, known trigger, or reported conflict at home has come out in any credible source. She was there, and then she was not, and nobody in the public record has explained what pushed her out the door that night.
Also developing right now out of Atlanta, police are investigating the disappearance of a 14-year-old girl. This is Anila Robertson. Police say that she was last seen at her home on Belmead Avenue in Midtown. Now, her mom tells police that she left without permission last night around 10 o'clock. Now, our crews were the first on the scene this evening at Robertson's home. We saw officers speaking with family and getting video from neighbors' doorbell cameras.
The hours between 10 at night and 4 in the morning are a blank. No confirmed phone activity, no witnesses, no known contacts from that stretch of time have been reported. But at around 4 in the morning on Monday, May 4th, roughly 6 hours after she was last seen, the cameras at the residential complex picked up something that would become the most important piece of evidence in the case: Anila getting into a Dodge Charger. No details on the driver have been released publicly. No license plate, direction of travel, or description of anyone else in the vehicle. The footage showed her getting in, and after that, the trail disappeared. That surveillance video became the foundation of the entire investigation from that point forward. And as we will see, what it implies about how Anila ended up in that car is at the center of everything that makes this case so unsettling. After the Dodge Charger footage, Anila police started canvassing the neighborhood door to door, going to every house and apartment they could reach, and asking residents for any private security footage or doorbell camera video from around 4 in the morning. Officers were out there talking to family, pulling every angle of video they could get their hands on, and treating the situation seriously, though at that point it hadn't yet crossed into a formal abduction investigation. That escalation came the next afternoon, and it came directly from Anila. At around 2 in the afternoon on Monday, May 4th, 2026, Anila reached out to her mother and told her she was being held against her will. That was her last known communication with anyone. When a missing teenager sends that kind of message, everything changes fast, and it did. Atlanta police brought in both the homicide unit and the adult missing persons unit. The case was classified as a critical missing juvenile investigation and a possible abduction. Her poster was released publicly, and the story started moving across local news and social media. Family members told 11 Alive reporter Cody Alcorn that they received a phone call from an unknown man demanding $6,000 for Anila's safe return. $6,000, or the man was not bringing her back. And People magazine, citing the same family interview, reported that the family also said they received a ransom note on top of the phone call, a written demand to go along with the voice. Their fear was completely reasonable. There were some real things happening inside the investigation around the household that did make it into the reporting, and they're worth being straight about. On Monday, the same day Anila sent the distress message, her mother was arrested on a failure to appear warrant from an unrelated case. The details of the original charge have not been made public, and police have been clear that the arrest had nothing to do with Anila's disappearance. The timing was coincidental, not connected. Family on the scene tell 11 Alive that the teen's mom was arrested earlier today in an unrelated case out of Gwinnett County, and they also tell us that the mom's girlfriend is refusing to talk to police.
Robertson was reportedly seen leaving her home in a black Charger overnight. Family on the scene tell 11 Alive the teen's mom was arrested earlier today in an unrelated case out of Gwinnett County. And they also tell us that the mom's girlfriend is refusing to talk to police. Now, we spoke with one family member who says that the last time that they heard from the 14-year-old, she indicated she couldn't get away.
She called my stepdaughter. She was like crying, whatever. And she was just yelling like, they got me, they got me, they got me, whatever. And then her mother said she called too, and I was in the background crying.
Well, police initially reported Robertson's case as a possible abduction. Then tonight at 9 o'clock, police confirmed that she has not been abducted, but is still considered a critical missing juvenile. So here's her photograph one more time. If you have any information, call Atlanta police and let's get her to a safe place.
The mother's girlfriend, who was present at the complex, was initially reported as refusing to talk to police. That detail understandably raised eyebrows, but law enforcement has not publicly connected her refusal to anything related to Inela, and no charges or accusations have been made against anyone in the household. People declined to speak to police for many reasons, and without evidence of a connection, that is as far as any honest account of this can go. What we do know is that the police kept working. They ran down every piece of video, went over the 2 o'clock message, followed up on the ransom claim, and canvassed everything they could reach. And then, just after 8:30 on Monday evening, Atlanta police issued an update that shifted the entire narrative. Further investigation has determined that Inela Robertson has not been abducted or is being held against her will. She remained classified as a critical missing juvenile, meaning the urgency was still there, but the abduction determination was gone. And when the ransom claim specifically came up, police said it had been dispelled. That police statement needs to be understood for what it actually says, because a lot of people read she was not abducted and stopped there, as if the case was closed and everything was fine. It was not fine. When police say a ransom claim has been dispelled, what they mean is that after looking at everything available, the evidence did not support the story that she was being forcibly held by someone. That is different from saying nothing bad happened. It is the result of an investigation, not a dismissal, and police were careful to explain that they still did not know where Inela was or where she had gone after leaving Belmead Avenue and W. What they never explained publicly is exactly what led them to that conclusion. The specific analysis of the 2 o'clock message, any new footage from the neighborhood canvassing, any information about who was driving that Dodge Charger, none of that has been released. The investigation stayed open and the case stayed active, but the public picture of what police actually found and how they found it is still largely blank. So here's where things stand as of May 7th, 2026, based on everything that has been confirmed. Inela Robertson is still missing. She walked away from her building around 10 at night on May 3rd. 6 hours later, she got into a Dodge Charger on surveillance. The next afternoon, she told her mother she was being held against her will. A stranger called her family demanding $6,000. Police investigated all of it, walked back the abduction finding, and she still has not been found. No confirmed sightings after the Charger footage, no direction of travel known, no location. There is also no Amber Alert, which tracks with the non-abduction determination, since those alerts are tied specifically to confirmed kidnappings that meet certain conditions. The case is being handled entirely at the local level by Atlanta Police, with no listings in national databases like the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Public awareness has come almost entirely through local news and advocacy accounts sharing her photo. Now, to understand what might actually be going on here, and to understand why the non-abduction finding does not mean what some people think it means, it helps to look at a case from 1974 that follows a similar pattern. A 14-year-old girl named Margaret Ellen Fox disappeared in Burlington, New Jersey, and shortly after she went missing, her family got a phone call from an unknown man demanding $10,000 for her safe return, which would be about $65,000 in today's money. The caller told her mother, in words that were recorded and that the FBI released to the public 45 years ago, in 2019, $10,000 might be a lot of bread, but your daughter's life is the buttered topping. The call stopped. no money was ever paid. The FBI got involved, traced what they could, analyzed the recording for voice identification, and Margaret Ellen Fox has never been found. That case is still open today as an active cold case.
$1,000 might be a lot of bread, but your daughter's life is the butter topping.
Chilling new audio released in a decades-old cold case as police seek answers in a young girl's disappearance. Good evening, everyone. I'm Yuki Washington.
And I'm Jessica Cartalia. 14-year-old Margaret Fox went missing in Burlington 45 years ago today. She went out to get a babysitting job and was never seen again.
Now the FBI is offering a $25,000 reward for information leading to an arrest.
Eyewitness News reporter Matt Petrillo has been following the new developments. He joins us now. Matt?
Well, this case has weighed heavily on the minds of investigators with the Burlington City Police Department and even the FBI. Today marks 45 years since Margaret Fox went missing, and authorities released a disturbing phone call made days just after she disappeared.
$10,000 might be a lot of bread, but your daughter's life is the butter topping.
This phone call, just made public by authorities, reiterates two ransom notes sent to Margaret Fox's parents' house shortly after the 14-year-old disappeared in Burlington City 45 years ago. Authorities released the call today, hoping someone recognizes who it is. Take another close listen.
$10,000 might be a lot of bread, but your daughter's life is the butter topping.
Authorities say Fox went missing June 24th, 1974. She was in 8th grade at St. Paul's Roman Catholic School when she put up an ad in a local newspaper trying to find babysitting work. A man responded saying he would meet her at a bus stop at High and Mill Streets in Burlington. Fox was never seen again.
Both of her parents have since never knowing what truly happened to their beloved daughter.
Investigators also released an image of what she might look like as an adult if she's still living.
We understand that there's a likelihood that Margaret may be deceased. It is our mission that if this is the case, Margaret receives a proper burial, the Fox family can make closure.
And Margaret Fox still has a brother that lives here in the Burlington community. Meantime, authorities tell us that phone call may have never been released if not for new technology that made the call more clear to hear. Reporting live in Burlington Police Headquarters, Matt Petrillo, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
The reason that matters here is not to suggest Inila's situation ends the same way, but to show that ransom calls in missing teenage cases are a known pattern, that they are always taken seriously and investigated, and that law enforcement sometimes determines after investigation that the call does not match an actual abduction. That is exactly what happened here. The parallel also shows how cases like this can fall out of public attention quickly, especially when the initial dramatic elements get walked back by police updates, and how the absence of a resolved ending makes it easy for people to move on while the family is still waiting.
And now to our News4JAX I-Team investigation, evading abduction. We're revealing when and where a child is most likely to be kidnapped, the ages targeted, and mistakes parents don't realize they're making that actually help abductors.
I-Team investigator Jennifer Wass spoke with someone who's all too familiar with the tricks predators use to lure a child away.
This is Callahan Walsh. He and his family lived the nightmare. You may recognize his last name. His 6-year-old brother Adam was kidnapped at a department store in Hollywood, Florida in 1981. Part of the little boy's body was found 2 weeks later. The prime suspect was a man from here in Jacksonville, a convicted serial killer. Since then, Callahan and his father, John Walsh, have dedicated their lives to advocating for children through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which John founded. They have studied hundreds of attempted abductions and found some haunting similarities.
First, watch what happens to this teenager as she walks along a California sidewalk on her way to school. That man tries to grab her several times. Pensacola, Florida. This 11-year-old girl was waiting for the school bus. A man gets out of a van and chases toward her. Police say he has a knife when he grabs her, trying to drag her into his car. Two gut-wrenching examples of when a child is considered most vulnerable of being.
What we see is children are most likely abducted, or there's an attempted abduction, between the hours of 2 and 7 p.m. This is usually when a child is walking to or from school or a school-related activity.
Child advocate Callahan Walsh says weekdays, not weekends, are more common, specifically 7 to 9 a.m. before school, immediately following class from 3 to 4 in the afternoon, and after dinner between 6 and 7 p.m., and that kidnappers are focused on a specific age group.
Most common age we see is between 10 and 14. And 14, that age, that's, 13, 14, that's when kids are really starting to build that independence. They're starting to go out a little bit more on their own.
Walsh says girls are often targeted more than boys. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has created a list of the most common tricks used by would-be kidnappers to lure a child or teen. At the top, one we've heard often, but it continues to work for predators. It's called the offer. When a child is offered something desirable, candy, money, toys, or a ride. It's how the Walshes think Adam was lured into his car with a promise of candy. Another trick, a cute or unusual animal used to get a child to follow or enter a car or home. It's believed 7-year-old Summer Thompson was lured into her home when she stopped to pet Jared Harrell's dog as she walked home from her Orange Park Elementary School October 19, 2009. Another common technique, the emergency trick. Someone fakes an emergency and offers to take the child to another location. Parents, you should also know that you may be making it easier for predators to contact your child without even realizing it. For one, Walsh says do not put your child's name on their backpack. It helps predators single them out, fooling your child into thinking they're not a stranger. And as tempting as it might seem to post these new school year photos on social media, don't do it.
I see parents all the time posting way too much information about their child's schedule, where they go to school, who's their teacher, where they're going to extracurricular activities. We have to understand that putting too much information out there, especially on whether it's in the real world on a backpack or on social media, it allows predators to gain more access to our children, to have them have the understanding of where our children are and when, gives them an advantage if they're trying to abduct a child.
Walsh says never underestimate a would-be kidnapper. This man grabbed a 13-year-old girl inside a crowded Florida store 6 years ago in the middle of the day, dragging her toward the exit. Her mother hung on tight and the man let go. This mother was walking down a sidewalk in New York last year when a man grabbed her 5-year-old, put him in the back of his getaway car, and almost got away had it not been for his mother and other siblings. The teen in California, she pulled away when this man tried to grab her walking to school, and the 11-year-old in Pensacola, she fought too.
It's children who are oftentimes the one who are rescuing themselves in these situations, and that's why we have to tell children, if anybody grabs them, tries to pull them into the car or take them away, to do everything they can to get out of that situation.
Saving themselves from a parent's worst nightmare.
Walsh says 83% of children who escaped an attempted kidnapping fought. It makes a huge difference. Something else, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children does not recommend that you teach a child stranger danger. Most abductions involve someone the child knows. I'm not talking about a relative, but maybe a neighbor, a family friend, someone they've seen before, like in Summer Thompson's, and therefore do not consider the person to be a stranger. Instead, be more specific. Create a safe list, for example, of the people your child is only allowed to talk with, or tell your child he or she must have your permission before they go anywhere with anyone. Jennifer Waugh, Channel 4, the local station.
Right now on news4jax.com, we have the complete list of the most common tricks used to lure children and examples to help you teach your child to beat each of those tricks. Look for a link inside this story on the homepage.
The question that the police update leaves completely open is the harder one. If Inela was not being forcibly held against her will, why did she say she was, and why has she not come back? The Black and Missing Foundation, an organization that specifically works to make sure missing Black individuals get the same public attention and resources that other cases receive, has been sharing Inela's case and posting that the family believes she may have been groomed or manipulated by someone. That word groomed is worth sitting with. It describes a situation where someone builds a relationship with a young person over time, makes them feel understood and cared for, and then uses that trust to move them somewhere dangerous, somewhere the young person may not even recognize as dangerous until they're already in it. If that is what happened to Inela, the Dodge Charger at 4 in the morning starts to look less like an abduction and more like a young girl getting into a vehicle with someone she thought she trusted. That would explain why she got in, why she later said she couldn't get away, and why police ultimately concluded the situation was not a straightforward forced kidnapping. That version of events is also the most dangerous one, because it means no one forced her into anything at the start. It means someone worked to make her want to leave. And it means that whoever that person is, they've done this before, where they know exactly what they're doing. Atlanta police are still looking for any information on Inela's location. Inela Robertson is 4 feet 10 inches, 95 pounds, brown eyes, black and brown hair. She was 14 years old the last time anyone confirmed seeing her walking away from Belmead Avenue NW in Atlanta on the night of May 3, 2026. What do you think about this case? Drop your thoughts in the comments and click on one of the cards to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.